All right, dentists, let me ask you something point blank. When was the absolute last time you sat down and actually listened to recorded phone calls coming into your practice? Not just assuming things are fine, but really listening. If you haven't done this recently, you absolutely need to. And I'm warning you, you are probably in for a very, very rude awakening. Hey everyone, Dr. Ryan from DDS here. Today we're tackling something that is so fundamental to practice growth, yet so often overlooked or assumed: how your team handles incoming phone calls. Getting this wrong costs you patience, revenue, and creates immense frustration. Getting it right, it directly fuels your practice's success and helps you make more money, and ultimately contributes to having a better, less stressful life as a practice owner. We're going to uncover the common pitfalls and lay out exactly how to turn your phones into a powerful patient-generating machine. Let me share a story from my own experience that still makes me cringe. Around 7 or 8 years ago, I was doing a startup practice. For the first few months, like many dentists, juggling a million things, I didn't systematically check how my team was answering the phones. With a startup, obviously new patient flow is absolutely critical. You have zero existing patient base to rely on. So when things felt slower than expected, I finally started digging into the call recordings. What I found genuinely made me feel sick. I spent hours listening to calls over several days and weeks, and I could not believe the horrible job that was being done. And here's the kicker. It wasn't an untrained receptionist. This was a great team member who understood dentistry. They had clinical knowledge, but she fundamentally misunderstood her primary purpose on that phone call. It seemed like her goal was everything except getting people efficiently into the schedule. While reviewing these calls, one particular patient journey stood out, and it was heartbreaking. An older lady called, clearly in distress about a broken or uncomfortable tooth. I was able to pull all her interactions and sequence them, and later played them back for my entire team. Let me tell you, it was one of the most single impactful, albeit painful, training sessions that I've ever conducted in any of my practices. First, this poor woman called and nobody even answered. She left a message. Now, people might just call the next office on the list, right? But she was persistent, bless her heart, and called back again. This time our team answered. The call dragged on for 10 minutes. 10 minutes discussing who knows what, and incredibly, my front desk team member never once proactively offered her an appointment slot. After 10 minutes, the patient finally had to ask, "Can I please come in and see the dentist?" So she comes in, gets an exam, treatment's diagnosed. The plan was, I believe, for the front desk to sort out her insurance details and call her back to schedule the actual treatment. Did they call back? Nope. So the patient called us again, asking if she could get the needed treatment done. I think she called twice trying to give us money, and for whatever reason, we still didn't get back to her effectively. Then she called one last time, and listening to that voicemail was just devastating. It was this sweet older lady, clearly defeated, leaving a message saying, almost in tears, "I just don't know why no one wants to help me." From that first missed call to the tearful final voicemail, and every fumbled step in between, I showed my team how they had failed this patient at literally every single possible touch point during an interaction. Everyone in that room wanted to crawl under the table. I didn't need to be mean or yell. The reality of the calls was so apparently horrific that people still talk about that training session years later. And remember, this wasn't some clueless temp. These were experienced people, good team members who cared. That's why I say you will likely be shocked if you listen to calls from employees you expect to be pretty good. They might simply not know how to effectively convert a caller into a scheduled patient. And heaven forbid you've hired a newer employee and haven't explicitly trained them on phone protocols yet. You should be genuinely scared to death about what might be happening on your phone lines right now. Okay, enough horror stories. Let's get into the right way to handle incoming calls and what you absolutely should expect. No, actually probably demand from your team. First things first, you cannot expect your team members, even experienced ones, to magically invent a great phone process on their own. It's your responsibility as the leader to provide structure. You need at minimum a basic form of scripting for key parts of the call. Everyone needs to answer the phone the exact same way, every single time. And you need to practice this, role play it until it becomes completely second nature. Consistency is key. The first part of the call needs to be a locked in, scripted opening line they use every time. Something professional like, and it comes off welcoming, like, "Thank you for choosing Smith Dental. This is Ryan. How may I help you today?" Simple, consistent, professional. The second step, and this is where things often go wrong, is understanding the true objective. Many front office employees mistakenly believe they are running an informational hotline. They think their main job is to be a database answering every single question the caller might possibly have, providing tons of details about procedures, insurance nuances, fees, and everything. Let me be crystal clear. That is a horrible mentality and couldn't be further from the truth. Their primary, number one, non-negotiable job is to get patients into the schedule. Full stop. Now, does that mean they ignore questions? No. If a caller has a specific concern or question that is acting as a barrier preventing them from scheduling, then yes, absolutely resolve those concerns so that you can get them into the schedule. Address the barrier, then pivot immediately back to scheduling. That is it. There is nothing more complicated than that core mission. Crucially, you need to train them rigorously not to introduce new barriers or obstacles over the phone. So many front office team members think it's their job to screen callers, to act as gatekeepers, ensuring only the perfect or right type of patient makes it onto the schedule. While there might be an extremely rare specific instance where you might want some pre-qualification, my general stance is emphatic. No screening. Do zero screening over the phone. Just get the people in the door. Let the clinical team determine treatment needs and patient suitability once they're actually in the chair. Your front desk job is not to be the judge and jury of who is a worthy person for an appointment slot, whether that's based on insurance type or initial questions. If a caller asks a direct question, answer it concisely and honestly, of course, but train your team never to bring up potential barriers proactively. Things like complex insurance clauses, specific material limitations, or anything else that might plant a seed of doubt or give the caller a reason to hesitate before they even book. Once they successfully schedule the person, the next step should happen every single time. Ask, "Great, we have you scheduled. Just wondering, is there anyone else in your household, maybe your spouse or children, who might also be due for a dental appointment?" You'd be absolutely astonished at the tremendous number of additional new patients you can acquire simply by consistently asking this one question. Make it mandatory. Then after scheduling and asking about the family, they need to transition into building value and excitement. Tell the patient you're looking forward to meeting them. Build up the office, build up the doctor. Say something genuine like, "Oh, you're gonna love Dr. Smith. He's absolutely fantastic, and I know he'll take excellent care of you." Make the patient feel good about their decision and confident that they called the right place. Finally, clearly restate the appointment day and time. Like, "Okay, so we have you confirmed for Thursday at 3 p.m. We're excited to see you then. Have a great day." And the call is done. These calls should follow your scripts and guidelines, and they need to be handled as efficiently as reasonably possible. Longer, rambling phone calls don't just waste time, they directly lead to more missed calls when other potential patients are trying to get through. Efficiency and focus are critical. Now, let's circle back to that no screening point because it's so important and often met with resistance, especially regarding insurance. Many offices automatically try to screen out patients with state dental plans or insurance networks they deem horrible. Again, I strongly believe this is usually a mistake. Just the other week, I was in one of my offices reviewing these exact phone principles. My team pushed back, and specifically on a common state dental plan in our area. Their standard procedure was to get the call, hear the insurance, and immediately say, "Oh, sorry, we don't accept that plan," and then give the caller the number for a different office that does participate. They thought they were being helpful and efficient. I told them to stop that immediately. Instead, I instructed them from now on, when someone calls with that plan, you tell them honestly, "Just so you know, up front, we aren't an in-network provider for that specific insurance plan. However, we actually have lots of patients with that same plan who choose to come here anyway because they find our fees are very reasonable and they love the quality of the care that they receive. We offer," and give them some highlight, then pivot right back to why they should give us a try and offer to schedule their initial exam. Remember, many of these lower tier plans don't cover a lot of procedures, and patients actually, they want or need them, like cosmetics or implants, sometimes even crowns or root canals, so the insurance becomes less relevant for comprehensive care. The following week, I went back to that same practice. The office manager came up to me, absolutely grinning. She said, "You're not going to believe this, but since we talked last week, We've had 4 patients call with that state dental plan. We followed the script that you gave us. All 4 of them scheduled the new patient exam and paid cash for it. And she wasn't finished. And she added one of those is coming back for 4 crowns tomorrow and paying $5,000 cash out of pocket to get 4 crowns done. I desperately wanted to say, "I told you so," or "See, it works." But honestly, the look on her face said it all. No further comment was needed. She got it. It was such a powerful real-time reminder of stop screening over the phone. Focus on getting people in the door and demonstrating your value once they are there. The phones are so frequently one of those areas dentists just prefer to ignore. It's easier to bury your head in the sand and just assume that everything is running smoothly. But the hard reality is, if you are not actively listening, auditing calls, providing scripts, training, and paying close attention, I absolutely guarantee you are missing far more calls than you imagine, and you are unintentionally turning away tons of potential patients who should be sitting in your chair right now, contributing to your bottom line. So please review the steps and principles we talked about today. Have an honest conversation with your team. Look at the entire phone process through this critical lens. Are we set up to answer every possible incoming call? And is our primary driving focus on getting every willing person into a chair as quickly, easily, and positively as possible, without unnecessary screening? What about you? Do you have any horror stories from your practice, or maybe a success story about turning your phone system around? I'd love to hear about it. Please comment and share your experiences below. Take what you've learned today about mastering your practice phones and put it into action. Building a practice that serves you, one that's more profitable and enjoyable, is the goal. Let's keep working together to make dentistry fun, fulfilling, and rewarding. Subscribe so you don't miss the next strategy, and we'll see you soon.